This question is different from the previous example in that we know the midpoint and we're looking for the endpoint of the line segment. So one end of a line is up here, so this is an endpoint. We know that this is the middle. Okay, so if that's the endpoint and this is the middle down here, then if I can get rid of that, sorry, excuse me, then we know that the other end must be down here somewhere. Okay, somewhere down in this general vicinity, but we're not sure exactly where. We want to be able to tell exactly where this other end of the line is going to be. So the way to do this is begin with the endpoint that you know an endpoint, and that is -3,8. So it's important that you start with an endpoint, and you're going to go from there to the midpoint, which you also know. Okay, and for us, we know that the known midpoint is at 2, 1, and then we're going to try and go from there to the missing endpoint, the one that we don't know yet. Okay. Okay, so this is the one we don't know yet, but it's going to look like that. Okay, so think about what you're doing in terms of the math of this. Look at the x-coordinate. Okay, to go from this point across to this point. Now, only talking about the bit that we go across. We'd go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Okay, so we had to go across 5. Okay, and we went to the right. So that means we added 5. Okay. Well, if we had to add 5 to get halfway, then we would add another 5 starting here and add another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'd add another 5 to get there. So whatever we did to get to halfway, we had to do the same thing from the midpoint on. Now, as well as that, let's see if we can try and draw this in nice and neatly. To go from here down to the midpoint, okay, to start at the endpoint and talk about how far we had to come down to get to the endpoint, we'd come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we had to come down 7. And we were coming down, so let's make it negative because we came down. Okay, well, if we came down 7, we'd have to come down 7 as well. Okay, so let's start from this arrow. Okay, let's start from this arrow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's down 7. And wherever we end up at, that should be the new midpoint. Okay, so we ended up here. Okay, so we ended up here. Now, that would be the point. Well, this x-coordinate is 7, and the y-coordinate is -6. So 7, -6. Now, let's see if we can do that without drawing the graph. Okay, so forget about the graph for a moment and just concentrate on what we did here. Okay, so the x's went from -3 to 2. So you ask yourself, what do I have to add on or subtract to -3 to get to 2? So if you start at -3, what do I need to do to get to 2? If you can't do it in your head, just draw on a little number line. I'm going to go from -3 to 2. So that'll be -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So from -3 to 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, plus 5. So to go from -3 to 2, we have to add 5. Okay, so if we added 5 to our x's, we'll add 5 to our x's here as well. And 2 plus 5 will give you the 7. Okay, so add it to the x's. Whatever you do to the x's, keep it with the x's. Now let's look at the y's. What do you have to do to go from 8 to get to 1? Well, it should be pretty simple. To go from 8 to 1, you subtract 7. Okay, so subtract 7 here as well from your y's. And 1 take away 7 is negative 6. So the answer here and the answer here are the same. Okay, so hopefully you won't have to draw the graph every time. You can just look at what you did. In other words, for your x's, from negative 3 to 2, then you have to do the same thing again. What did you do to go from negative 3 to 2? You added 5. Well, that means you have to do the same thing again. And for the y's, what did you have to do to go from 8 to 1? You had to subtract 7. So for the y's, do the same thing again. Okay? Negative 7. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, good luck.